Welcome back, researchers, to the Arcanic Archives. I am, of course, the Archivist, and today we're back with Kano in Commoner. Now, this is my second video with a new iteration of the deck, and some of that was due to our experiences last time, but also to comments left by viewers, so thank you very much. And please do continue to comment with deck list suggestions or new cards you think I should try. Whether you like the deck, don't like the deck, whatever. Happy to hear from anyone with anything. So, onto our deck. The main thing is that we're trying a quasi-hybrid plan, courtesy of Wounded Bull and Scar for a Scar. Now, given that we start at 15 life, we will typically always have the less life condition turned on for these cards. It does, however, open up the possibility of bricking on a Kano activation, because, just a reminder, if it is not a non-attack on top of your deck, you actually can't do anything. You can't just banish it to get it out of the way. You can't bottom it. It's just stuck there. So that's why we need stuff like Talismanic Lens and some of our other new additions to give us some extra opting and ensure that we can clear those attacks off the top of our deck if need be. Another addition suggested by a viewer was Whisper of the Oracle. They asked why I wasn't playing this in the first video, and my answer was simply because I forgot about it. So this is essentially our common Gaze the Ages. Definitely not as good, of course, because you sort of lose the velocity that Gaze the Ages gives you with it coming back to hand when you play it. The upside with Whisper is that if we activate Kano and hit this on our own turn, playing it as an instant, Go Again will still resolve and give us an action point, so we can sort of have another go wide turn a la Mage Master Boots if we Kano into a Whisper of the Oracle. Otherwise, this is pretty just straight ahead. Snapback is our most powerful card, best card to put in Arsenal, of course. Voltic Bolt sends the most damage, very good. Lets us go tall over AB3. We have Aether Flare for some mini combo potential. And then the rest of the deck is pretty standard. Scalding Rain is just another straight up burn spell. A lot of extra blues, like Zap, Sap, etc. We're at 19 blues, which is pretty acceptable. There's an argument to go up to 20, but we'll see how 19 does for right now. Sideboard, we have Rifting, mostly as another popper, which with the Wounded Bulls would make it 3. Oasis in case we run into other Kanos or possibly Briar, because this is very good to use on Rosetta Thorn. Ironhide for a little more block, and then 2 more pieces of Null Rune so that we could go up to AB3 with our Spellfire Cloak, if we need to. So anyways, that is our deck list for today. Let's jump into the video and see how we do. I'll be back in a little while with our wrap-up. Alright, so we're back with Kano and Commoner against Ira. We had the choice and we put them first. We'll see if that's a mistake or not. I think we'll just run our standard setup here, including Seeker's Mitts. Not sure how good that's going to be. But theoretically, the opt is very good. Alright, so I have AB2, which is reasonable. Take the Kodachi hit. We can block the needle. See, we can block with Bolt. I'm tempted to sit on this Wounded Bull and then just play it on our turn. Blocking with Red Voltic feels bad just because that's a lot of damage potentially, but it is turn 0. Suspect Ira is pretty good in Commoner, just because the ability, you know, damage is damage. Okay, so this, you can just block. I mean, they might have a reaction to pump it. Okay, they don't. So let's activate Kano, see if we get a 0 cost. We do, but they can also just pay for it, so let's say no banish. Alright, so we can essentially Kano for, quote, free here. See if we can find anything to play for 1 or 0 resource. Okay, we find Snapback, that's fine. We'll banish. Let's... So we can play this first, and then... Yeah, alright. That's fine. We'll play this first. That's my desk chair, I apologize. Alright, and now we can get him with the Wounded Bull. I'm not sold on Wounded Bull Kano, but I think more often than not, I've enjoyed having it. I have just the 2 red Wounded Bulls and 2 red Scarfer Scars. So there's always a chance we can break a Kano activation, but also, you know, a 2-card 8. And we get another no blue hand, which statistically just upsets me. So we'll take the Kodachi. So here on our turn, we could like Crucible Reverb and then play Prognosticate, put Snapback in Arsenal, which is pretty solid. That does entail not blocking anything, however. Whirling Mist Blossom. It's the second. Okay, so we essentially have to block this, right? Yeah. Sad. So that essentially puts us off having Snapback in Arsenal. So, do we overblock this? Don't really have a very exciting turn if we overblock. Well, let's just see if they have a reaction. They do have Razor Reflex. Okay. Perhaps we should have played into that, but I erred on the side of having something to do on our turn. So now push the point for 6. Ouch. We will just take it. Maybe they'll snap here. They don't. Okay. So this is okay for us. We can present a good bit of damage still. And then hopefully draw some blues for their turn. So we'll use our yellow to Crucible Reverberate to present 4, which they'll take 2, and then we can present... Ooh, they pitch 2 cards. That's pretty good. So now we can send in this Prognosticate as an instant for a further 3 damage. We'll see if they give us any more cards. They don't. Okay, so they take 2 from the Prognosticate. Killing them from 8 isn't impossible. Okay. So we draw Red Snapback, which is really good. So essentially, yeah, they wanted to just capitalize on the strength of Bittering Thorns. So here, and they do have the 0 cost in pitch. So we can like block this out. We could like block this out with Seeker's Mitts and Spellfire Cloak, so let it resolve. It's like on our turn we could Crucible, play out Scalding Rain, and then put Snapback in Arsenal. That's honestly... because then we'd only take... Actually, no, because they can deal 4 damage off just the daggers here. That's actually a pretty good 2-card hand. I'm somewhat impressed. Okay. So we essentially need to block or try to combo now. We'd have to essentially present 10 damage, which isn't quite likely, I don't think. This is actually quite the dilemma. We have blue Reverberate on top. I don't think we want that. Yeah, Ira is pretty good, because that was a... What, that's a 2-card 8? Basically. Yeah, I think sadly we have to block this. We can take the Kodachi hit, put Snapback in Arsenal, and try to have a good turn. on their next turn. Okay, they just pass. I mean, yeah. Alright, so we will activate Kano. We have Wounded Bull on top of the deck, so this is actually very unfortunate. We're going to Talismanic Lens here. Bottom that, we will keep this blue. So red Snapback, oh, we have 4 blues, nice. So red Snapback is the best thing to have in Arsenal by a long shot with this deck. Okay, so we've seen both our Wounded Bulls, but no Scar for a Scar. So hopefully we don't break. So I just send in Kodachi for 1. Pitching a Sink Below. Okay, so they commit to the Razor Reef. Oh, they might not have a lot of resource at all. Alright, so here we must Kano. Banish Sap. I mean, it's not great, but it's what we have. Banish, oh, Aether Flare. Now we are talking. So here we will Crucible this Aether Flare. Because if they only have a red, you can deal a bundle of damage. Okay, so they were sitting on a blue. So we deal 2 damage, which makes this 5. Which they take... Okay, so we basically need... We need this Kano activation to hit exactly a 0 cost. Or possibly like a Scalding Rain. Red Scalding Rain would also be good. Or another Aether Flare. Okay, red Scalding Rain. So now this becomes 6. And then we can sap them for the last 1. Okay, so it worked out just right. Wow, okay. That was kind of fun. Took us a while to puzzle that one out, but a little lucky Kanoing coupled with a little bit of unlucky Kanoing when we saw that Wounded Bull, but Talismanic Lens came in and saved us there. Interesting game, very fun, and Ira is kind of frightening, actually, but, I mean, Kano's always frightening too. It's not that hard to count to 20, as his recent ascendance to Living Legend in Blitz has shown us. Alright, on to the next. Alright, so we're back with Commoner Kano against Dash. We had the choice and I put them going second, mostly because I don't want to leak a whole bunch of damage. I don't think we're going to bring in any of... We're not going to bring in any of our Oasises or whatnot. So hopefully we can just like set up a Snapback and Arsenal here, maybe chip in a little damage. We'll see how much Arcane Barrier they have, which is 2. Alright, so this is a little strange. Having both Aether Flares is a little unfortunate. Because we'd really love to... I don't know. Do we turn 1 crack Mage Masters? If we... damn. This is rough. If we had, like, a little more resource, we could try to, like, Kano something... Like, Kano a 0 cost off the top, and then do Flare, and play something as an instant. It's a little sad. So I think... Let's Kano. Oh, and it is a 0 cost too. We will banish it. We're going to Crucible. Okay, so it doesn't look like we're going to have an Arsenal. Yeah, we're going to Crucible and then play Flare, pitch Flare. So we'll probably chip in 3 damage, it looks like. Maybe if they have a whole bundle of reds, maybe not. No. So they're just filtering a little bit. Okay, and then this sap will present 3 damage, which yeah. Okay. So chip in 3 damage, not bad, but we also don't have an Arsenal. Okay. So we find one of our Scar for Scars, which is nice. Alright, so they play Boom Grenade, Cranked, attacking Goliath Gauntlet to a blue Crankshaft. Alright, so this is for 5, threatening another 3. So you could just attack with Talishar after this, but if they have another 2-cost attack in hand, that's pretty bad for us. We don't want to get grenaded. We could keep a blue... No, let's just block like this. If they do just Talishar us, we're happy to take this on the chin. Okay. Let's Kano here because we're not going to just play... Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to take great advantage of the Scar for Scar. Okay, so we Kano into Voltic Bolt, which is unfortunate because we cannot play that unless we break Spellfire and pitch Scar for a Scar. This is yellow Voltic Bolt, so 4 damage. I'm sort of tempted to do that, though. Then we'll deal at least 2, possibly more, if they want to keep a card. I mean, okay. I'm not feeling great about this, but... See how much they value that card in hand. Okay, somewhat highly. So they just take it. Does mean we don't have a turn, but... I mean, dealing 4 damage is pretty good. Let me find 4 blues. Unless we hit, like, both red Voltic Bolts, I don't think we can combo them from 13. So they play the other yellow Boom Grenade. So that was the card that they had left over. Pretty good for them. They do crank. I don't think we're afraid to block here, but I'm worried that this game is just going to turn into us blocking with 3 cards every time. And they play another Boom Grenade. Okay. So yeah, we will be blocking a lot because that's 7 damage on board. Okay, so they send in 0 to 60, which is awkward because we need to block this with 2 cards if we don't want to get walloped. Yeah, I wonder if they... 7 damage is so much, though. That's... Yeah. We will block with 2 cards here. So if they can play 2 more attacks, they probably will grenade us. So this can thankfully be blocked with 1. If their last card is another 0 to 60, I'm going to cry. No, it's just Talishar. So again, we'll just take this. Wow, we can threaten 1 damage with Prognosticate. So thrilling. But that was just worth it. We're not going to survive taking 7. Oh, this isn't good. So we draw 3 reds, one of which is Wounded Bull. What'd be lovely is if we can survive this turn blocking with just Reverberate, so we can play Wounded Bull, Arsenal, Snapback. That's pretty good. Alright, so they're doing some recharge action. That's a fun card from Bright Lights. Alright, so they do a big ol' jump start for 9. And they have the resource left over to Talishar. Which means that we're going to have to block... I think we have to block with our Snapback. Because they'll deal 3 and then... Okay. So again, we were pressured into a 3-card block. In which case, we will sit on the Snapback to put it in Arsenal. So we have to block with our Wounded Bull. Sad. We have another card in hand to play. No, they just Talishar again. Okay, so we will take the 4. And they pass. Alright, so we don't get to do anything, but Red Snapback, as always, is our favorite card to put in Arsenal. We only get 1 blue here, which is bad. wonder if I need to play fewer reds. I do have 19 blues in this list, but in both games that I've played so far today, we've gotten hands like this that's like 1 blue or none blue. Alright, so they play a jump start, hitting a crankshaft to keep their hyperdriver around. Now, what's our play here? They have 3 resource floating, which is kind of suspicious, but no Talishar. We are forced into some awkward blocks here. Let's block 5. See if we're able to hold on to this Scalding Rain, because that's a good play. But we will not, because here's a throttle. So they probably have us here. Oh, because they have a payload. Yeah, so that is full GG. Good for you. Alright, so Commoner Kano versus Bravo. We had the choice and are going first. We'll have our Iron Hide this time. We don't really need any other sideboard cards. Alright. So they have Arcane 3, pretty good. Running Titan's Fist and the Lantern. So, I don't know, let's do some Kanoing, find an Aether Flare or something. Oh, Voltic Bolt is not bad. You can do one more. And it's Scar for a Scar, so nothing there. So let's Crucible. And send in this Voltic Bolt for 5. So we could present this Prognosticate, but then they could just pitch another blue, so I think it's better to keep our card, put it in Arsenal. Especially because, you know, Scar for a Scar plus Prognosticate is an okay plan. Depending on how much damage they throw at us, at least. We'll see how many cards we have left over. Alright, so they're already going for a Goliath Gauntlet and Cross-Strap plan. Does that mean they're just trying to save some resource for Pummel, perhaps? Or just a Dominated Thump? Ouch. Alright, so that is for 6 Dominate. If they Pummel it, we have to discard 2, which is somewhat unfortunate, but even if we block with a card from hand and Iron Hide, we can't cover this up completely. So, yeesh. I mean, we can block with 1 and then discard the other 2 and then do Scar for a Scar into Prognosticate. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. Let's block here and then see if they have the Pummel. They don't. So we just discard 1. I think here we probably discard Scalding Rain. So we can put Snapback in Arsenal. It is yellow Snapback, but anything that we can play out of Arsenal is good. So they have a Fate Foreseen. The one problem about playing the attacks in Kano Commoner is that people's defense reactions sometimes have value when they wouldn't otherwise. So we'll just do Scar for a Scar and then send in Prognosticate for 3, which they barrier all of. Stick the Snapback in Arsenal. Alright, we find a red Snapback. So it's possible that on our turn we can, you know, Crucible this one, put the other one in Arsenal or something. Alright, so they pitch... Oof, a red... Oops, all thumps. Red and a blue into Titan's Fist. So on our turn, we are going to Crucible, Prognosticate, play Snapback, Arsenal Snapback. So we can afford... I mean, we could also just send in that Snapback then. We can afford a block for 3. It's a-okay. Alright, so now we can Crucible, send in Prognosticate for 4. Maybe they'll take all of it and we can opt. Just kidding. No one ever takes all of the Prognosticate. Okay. So they pitch 1 blue, so we have the option of double snapbacking, presenting 5 damage. Let's play the yellow one out of Arsenal, see what they do. Oh, they pitch 2 reds. So their turn, I bet they're sitting on 1 more blue to just swing the Titan's Fist. So, I mean, yeah, we'll send in the snapback because we either get the card out of them and they have no turn, or we deal 3 damage. Okay, it was another red, so we deal 2 damage. That's pretty good. So then we can just pass. If we draw a bunch of blues, or we draw some blues. Okay. We're going to break the Talismanic Lens, see if we can do some quality Kanoing. So we find Voltic Bolt and Snapback, which are both pretty good. So that is a total of 8 damage. So we do our whole hand and deal 8 damage, but they can't do anything about it, so that's fine. So we'll just leave these both. Kano once, Kano twice. And there's 8 damage. Pretty good. So again, we don't have a turn either, but... Well, our turn was dealing 8 damage right there. Okay. See what they can do with 4 cards. This isn't very good as a combo hand. It'd be nice to keep the red Scalding Rain. Alright, so they do Titan's Fist, keeping 3 cards back. So they're either being cautious or they have the other pummel. Well, no, we saw them pitch red pummel earlier. Okay, do we block 6? We probably do. There's no way they could give this go again. Because our turn, we're just going to send in this Scalding Rain for extra damage. So I think we're in a pretty good position here. We can sort of put Bravo on the back foot if we get lucky early on, like we did here, and then just with, you know, our Scalding Rains and Voltic Bolt chip them down to a point where they can't do anything about a combo when we're ready for it. We have 4 blues here, which is pretty good. So they just do a cut down to size, which is a vanilla 6 damage. They could pummel it if they have the pummel, but even that, well, a 3 block is pretty safe here because then if they pummel it, we discard another card and take 7 damage, but then we're not dead, and we still have 2 cards to Kano with. We don't have a good card to put in Arsenal here, so we'll just block 3. Do they have a pummel? No. Alright, we will activate Kano here, and it's Scar for a Scar, so we'll just pass then. And we can send in blue Voltic Bolt for 4. It's not stellar, but it is our highest damage 2-cost card. Or highest damage blue, I should say. It is also a 2-cost card. So they take 1. So we get, again, another 3 red special. I don't know if we're just drawing somewhat poorly, or if I'm being greedy with the amount of reds I'm playing in this version of the deck. Alright, so here comes Titan's Fist for 4. If they have pummel, that's 8, and we're dead, so we are going to be doing some blocking. So we can block with Red Flare. I mean, we could also just block with Ironhide and then Spellfire into it. Because then we take 6 to 2 and Scar for a Scar is turned on. And yeah, so we'll do that. So if they have a pummel, we'll take 6. They don't, we just take 2. So it does make our Scar for a Scar a wee bit awkward. So then we'll just pass. Okay. So I think what we should do here is probably a Mage Master's Aether Flare thing. Yeah, so let's do Mage Master's Pitch Blue Flare. Then we will Crucible. Send in this Flare. And then we'll pitch Scar for a Scar to play Reverberate, just to cash in on some extra damage. Do they have the all-red special? They pitch 3 reds to block 3 damage. So now we can Reverberate for 4. Do you have just another red? They did. Oh. So they had the 4 red special. So, good game for us. I've been doing pretty well with the Bravo matchup in Commoner lately, just because, as I was saying, the plan of just chipping in with our Voltic Bolts and Scalding Rain, excuse me. That plan of just chipping in over their Arcane Barrier, typically 3, works pretty well. So yeah, that was fun. Alright, so we have Kano Commoner versus Uzuri, which I've not actually seen her in Commoner yet. This should be fun. Yeah, so I wonder, what does Uzuri have that's good? Like, I don't know, cut down to size, it's fine. I mean, most of the good stealth cards, and obviously Isolate. I'm just totally blanking on common 6-power cards at the moment. So do we block the Spider's Bite? The on-hit doesn't matter, but we would just like to preserve some health here. We kind of want to save this. I think we probably block with Flare. So this isn't the sort of deck that we need to pitch stack for. They only have AB1. After that game with Oldhim, I'm going to be thinking about like hypothetical situations where you could set up a crazy pitch stack. Okay. And as far as reactions, it's probably just like Razor Reflex. So we'll pass here. See if they bother attacking with something else. Okay, so it's Infect. We're going to block 6. Hold on to Red Snapback and keep it in Arsenal. Fortunately, I have nothing to do. See if holding on to Red Snapback was a mistake. Probably could have kept... I don't know, Scalding Rain's very good. Like, we should probably just try to race them, right? Because they have 1 Arcane Barrier. Okay, so we find Reverberate, which is pretty cool. So I think we'll just Crucible, send that. So they pitch 1, take 3. I actually think I mean, like, we can play Snapback anyways, and we don't want to banish blue Aether Flare, so I think we'll decline the Reverberate banish here. We'll Kano one more time. Find an Aether Dart. That's fine. Since they only have 1 Arcane Barrier, it's like they gotta choose whether to just take the damage or give us another card. Do we snap them here? I think so. Like, we've already seen one of our red and blue flares, so I'm more scared of getting run over by, like, Cross-Strap, Goliath Gauntlet, big attack. Alright, so we find one of our Scar for Scars in Scalding Rain, which is always good. So we will not shy away from taking a little damage on this turn. So we can do, like, Scar, Crucible, Scalding Rain is pretty solid. Alright, so they do a Spider's Bite. We will just take this. So we won't be blocking the Scar for a Scar. And then I have a Sedate. We don't care about the arsenal, but we don't want to get got by cut down to size. So we'll block 3. See if they have a switcheroo. No, it's blue Razor's Edge. You have a Razor Reflex to go with it? Yeah. Okay, so they deal 2, give us an inertia, which will not do anything in this circumstance. Unfortunately, we have nothing to do at the moment, so no free Kanoing, but it's not a huge concern since I only have Arcane Barrier 1. Should still have Arcane Barrier 3 in Commoner. We'll teach them that lesson. Alright, so they block 3. That's fine. So now we can just Crucible. Scalding Rain for 5. Pretty good. And they just take all 5. It's like I'm tempted to opt right now to see what we draw, but I think we'll just wait. Alright, so we get 2 blues. That's fine. Unless they present lethal, we can do Mage Masters for Scalding Rain and Prognosticate, and then just blow them up on their next turn. Unless they're hiding an Oasis Respite over there, I'm not very worried. So it is red Isolate. Yeah, so we can safely block 3 here. See if they switcheroo, or if they just Razor Reflex again. So they do Uzuri for Nyx the Nimble. Okay, so switching into some contracts, that's pretty good. We have exactly 0 reaction cards in our deck, however. Oh, they banish our Aether Flare. So there goes red Aether Flare. Little sad, but that's fine. Alright, so now it's time to Mage Master Boots. Some go wide action on our turn. So we can Scalding for 4 and then Prognosticate for 3. That's not bad. So they're taking 5 damage here, right? And then we can very easily kill them. Yeah, so they give us 2 reds. Solid. So we find not a lot of blues. So I actually think, like, we're just going to... Yeah, we're going to block a bunch. And just incinerate them with the red Voltic Bolt on our turn. I wonder if this should just be Iron Route. I never know about the Gauntlet in this deck, like, which I should be playing. Alright, I mean, technically keeping the Snapback is more damage, so... Here's 5 arcane damage. Do you have an Oasis Respite? Apparently not. And not. Okay. That was, I mean, that's what you get when you only play 1 Arcane Barrier. It was not very close. But hopefully they learned a lesson in Lava about that one. So what did we learn today with Kano in Commoner Part 2? Now, there was one game that I got that I ended up not showing. It was a match against Sledge of Anvilheim Oldhim, which was very cool, but we got fatigued. I'm not very good at playing into fatigue. I just don't have a lot of experience yet. And especially with Kano, like, I guess I should have anticipated at the beginning of the game that that's probably what they're up to, and then tried to pitch stack some Aether Flares or something to do a combo, which that got me thinking, what is the most damage you could do realistically in Commoner? And so I'm pretty sure that if you have 4 blues in hand, red Snapback in Arsenal, and then you know you have 2 Aether Flares on top of your deck, say you pitch stack them or something. So anyways, you pitch 2 blues into Kano to banish the 2 Aether Flares. You use another blue to crucible one of them and then play both. So you deal, and this is assuming no arcane barrier or prevention on the opponent's part. The first would deal 4. The second would then deal 7. So you've dealt 11 damage, and then you add 7 onto the next thing. So then you use your Spellfire Cloak to play Snapback from Arsenal for now 10. You've dealt 21. And then you Kano again and banish a 0-cost red off the top of your deck with your final blue for 3 more damage, which is a total of 24. I'm pretty sure that's the most damage you could squeeze out of Kano in Commoner in a single turn, which would be enough to run over most people outside of, like, I don't know if anyone's out here with, is Healing Bomb common? If anyone's out here trying to, need to switch over to our newer version. If anyone's out here trying to gain life in Commoner, there's a Healing Bomb is a common, and Sunkiss also is. Okay, so if someone's out here with a Healing Bomb, Sunkiss, Guardian, or something, 24 damage might not be enough, but in most cases, it probably is. So anyways, how did this deck do? Well, aside from getting run over by Dash, and obviously that Fatigue matchup against Oldhim, I think we did pretty well. The game against Ira I found very enjoyable, mostly because I was super impressed with, like, the 2-card 8 or 9 that Ira can present, courtesy of Bittering Thorns. That's just pretty good, but we managed to pull through with exactly the right amount of damage. I'm not super sold on the Scar for a Scar Wounded Bull plan. I've actually put together my armory, local armory this week was Commoner, actually, so I put together a slightly updated version of the deck where we're only doing 2 Riftings as attacks because, you know, you can Rifting into a Scalding Rain or something, and that's pretty solid. Or they'll just give you 2 cards to block the Rifting, and then you're happy with that as well. And we still have the Wounded Bulls in the sideboard, but again, that's mostly as poppers. So this is the newest version of the deck. I decided, rather than have, like, multiple deck lists, I'm just going to do versions. So be sure to look at the version history, because this is the date that the video is going up, so this was the deck that we used. So anyways, I hope you had fun watching those games, as much fun as I did playing them. I think Kano is obviously very good in Commoner, and it's just a load of fun to play. Proof that even without your Lessons in Lava and Blazing Aethers, you can still deal a whopping amount of damage and get some sneaky combo plays. Also, Snapback, it's just busted. It's so good. So much fun, especially as a Blitz majority player who doesn't get to see this a whole lot. So anyways, I've been the Archivist, and this has been Kano Commoner. Leave us a comment below, and I'd be curious to hear any further ideas about what wizardy shenanigans we could get up to, at least with our current card pool. Should we go full Muscle Mage hybrid? Should we go pure Arcane, run all the other Aether Flares? Something else? Let us know. Yeah, so thanks for visiting the archives today, and we will see you for your next research appointment.